Despite being one of the more famous characters from the world of Thomas, I've never seen anyone look into Diesel's history before. I've spent some time researching the first proper villain in the Railway series and think I've narrowed it down to one engine who is the real Diesel. Diesel was one of 996 Class 08s built for British Railways between 1952 and 1962. That's a huge number of engines to work through. However, due to his early build date, I've got Diesel's likely basis down to quite a small number. As Duck and the Diesel engine was set in 1957, Diesel must have been built in or before 1957. That narrows the possibility to 391 Class 08s. Luckily, the illustrations do show some subtle features which narrow down the real Diesel. Diesel was built in Darlington, as shown by his unpainted, i.e. silver-coloured side rods. Other works, such as Derby, painted them red. Darlington Works also produced the LNERW1, known by some as the Galloping Sausage, which shows where Diesel may have picked up the nickname. 168 Class 08s left Darlington Works in 1957 or before. Some changes were made to the slots behind the ladders on the Class 08s, either side of the bonnet, in 1957. There were originally 13 slots behind the ladders, but during 1957 08 started to have metal plates added to the lower 4 slots. Diesel did not have these. 148 of the Darlington Class 08s had the correct ladder slots. Now, Diesel is basically a big black box with lots of smaller black boxes on him. The boxes on his running plate either side of his bonnet are for housing braking equipment. From partway through 1956, newly built Class 08s only had them on the left-hand side of the running board. These cannot be Diesel. 90 Class 08 examples had the correct boxes. Diesel's rear lamps are also useful at narrowing down his identity. From mid-1955 onwards, the conduit wire took a vertical path to the top lamp, as can be seen on Diesel. Before that, there was a more convoluted path to the top lamp. 28 Class 08s have the correct marker light design. Of these final 28 Class 08s, 5 of them had varnished wooden drop lights, which means the cab window would have had a brown frame. Diesel does not have this, so is one of the remaining 23 Class 08s. Okay, so from 996 examples, I've managed to narrow Diesel's basis down to 23 examples. Of the ones we are left with, 5 were allocated to the southern region and 18 were allocated to the northeastern region. The only differences between these two batches is the southern region examples had 6 lamp irons on the front bonnet, the northeastern examples only had 4. In the illustrations, these are all hidden behind Diesel's face, so cannot be used to help identifying the real Diesel. This is as far as solid evidence gets us, but there are still further suggestive points to locate Diesel's true identity from Christopher Awdry's book, Thomas and the Evil Diesel. Unfortunately, there is no firm date for this book, and I've gone over all the evidence in the story to try and place it to no avail. However, almost all of Christopher Awdry's books take place a year or two prior to their publishing date. As Thomas and the Evil Diesel was published in 1987, the story is likely to be set around 1985 to 1986. I believe this book is most likely to take place in between the Railway series volumes More About Thomas the Tank Engine, set in 1985, probably in the autumn, and Toby, Trucks and Trouble, which begins in the spring or summer of 1987. This is due to Percy being taken to the works for a long time in Thomas and the Evil Diesel, but he is fit and healthy in the other 2 books. The illustrations suggest Thomas and the Evil Diesel takes place in springtime, and probably over several weeks, so it most likely takes place in 1986. Thomas and the Evil Diesel explicitly mentions Diesel was borrowed from the other railway, and afterwards returns home, wanting to come back to Sodor one day. This suggests he is in service on British Rail and also returns to work for British Rail when he leaves Sodor. So all stock withdrawn from service or no longer owned by British Rail cannot be Diesel and will have to have worked for British Rail for a little bit longer after they return to the mainland. Only 3 of the possible 08s were still in British Rail service by 1986, 2 of those being withdrawn in March. I think these 2 are withdrawn too early to be the real Diesel, as it makes the timeline very tight. As such, I believe the real Diesel is the only one left, number 13236. 13236 left Darlington Works on the 2nd of February 1956, allocated to Hull Dairycoats, and moved to Hull Springhead on the 24th of March of the same year. After Diesel's period of time on Sodor, 13236 was renumbered D3236 on the 21st of November 1959 and returned to Hull Dairycoats on the 26th of May 1962. Upon leaving Hull Springhead, Diesel was one of only 2 Diesels sharing the shed with 25 steam engines. Diesel then moved to Hull Botanical Gardens on the 26th of September 1970 Diesel then received the TOPS number 08168 in May 1974. After returning to Sodor for several weeks in 1986, Diesel was withdrawn from BR stock on the 14th of March 1988, having moved to York sometime previously. Diesel was in BR service for 32 years, 1 month and 7 days. From there, Diesel entered private service with ABB Transport at York, then with Fragonset, then with FM Rail Limited in 2005. Diesel was loaned to the Basfield line in Lancashire in 2005 and then remained there after FM Rail went into administration. From May 2008 to 2014, Diesel was on loan to the Bluebell Railway to assist with the shunting duties. After leaving the Bluebell Railway, Diesel became the depot shunter for Nemesis Rail in Burton-on-Trent and remains there to this day. I will upload another video with a few more details of Diesel's build in the next few days, as well as a more detailed breakdown of how I placed Thomson Evil Diesel in the timeline. For now, I hope this has been interesting and thanks for watching.